The world is at a crossroads, compelled to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. The reliance on fossil fuels has resulted in severe environmental consequences, such as climate change and air pollution. To mitigate these issues and secure a sustainable future, the global community must accelerate the adoption of low-carbon energy technologies, including solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal power. In this presentation, we'll delve into the urgent need to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. We'll explore the benefits of this shift from cleaner air to a more sustainable future. We'll also discuss the challenges that lie ahead and the innovative solutions being developed to overcome them. Here are the problems we are addressing through this presentation. First, how can we rapidly reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the energy sector to mitigate climate change? Second, how can we ensure a reliable and affordable energy supply as we transition to clean energy sources? Third, how can we address the intermittency of renewable energy sources like solar and wind power? Fourth, how can we finance the significant investments required for the energy transition? Fifth, what are the geopolitical implications of the energy transition and how can we mitigate potential risks? Here are the causes of the problem for energy transition. For renewable energy, high initial cost of installation. Carbon emissions are the main cause of global warming. Many efforts have been taken to increase its adoption. However, the cost is an important factor affecting its adoption. One of the stumbling blocks on the way to its development is the high initial cost of installation. Lack of infrastructure. Wind and solar energy can be better investments when lifespan costs are considered. Lack of infrastructure is a barrier to renewable energy development. The present infrastructure is mainly built for fossil fuel plants and nuclear plants. Power storage. Most importantly, the lack of power storage at an affordable cost is another drawback. Renewable energy sources generate most of their energy at certain times of the day. Its electricity generation does not match with the peak demand hours. The intermittency of sunshine and wind cannot provide an on-demand power source 24 hours a week. Solar energy and wind are unpredictable. There is volatility in generation and volatility in loads. Non-renewable energy monopoly. The lion's share of the current energy market is under non-renewable energy sources. Certainly, this acts as another obstacle. Solar, wind, and other renewable sources of energy have to rival the well-established fossil fuel industry. Even though the government is providing rebates and other support for the solar energy, the fossil fuel industry has massive support from the government. Lack of knowledge and awareness. Lack of knowledge and awareness of renewable energy technology makes people reluctant to use it. Fossil fuel plants are usually in populated areas. It is a source of employment for the local population as it needs a lot of people to run. The huge property tax from fossil fuel plants is going to support the local community. Lack of policies, subsidies, and etc. The lack of policies, subsidies, incentives, and regulations that favor renewable energy technologies hinders its wide acceptance. To attract investors, the renewable energy market needs clear policies and legal procedures. In other words, the government has to introduce and implement support policies to strengthen the renewable energy market. For fossil fuels, economic dependence. Many economies, especially developing ones, are heavily reliant on fossil fuel industries for revenue, employment, and energy security. Infrastructure lock-in. Existing infrastructure, such as power plants and transportation system, is often designed for fossil fuels, making it costly and time-consuming to switch to renewable energy. Political. Minimizing the impact of climate change requires remaking a multi-trillion dollar industry that lies at the center of the economy and people's lives. Reducing humanity's reliance on fossil fuels requires investments here and now that provide uncertain long-term benefits. These decisions are particularly difficult for politicians who tend to focus on policies with immediate local benefits that voters can see. Consumer behavior. Changing consumer behavior, such as adopting electric vehicles or energy-efficient appliances, is essential but can be influenced by various factors, including cost and convenience. Workforce transition. The shift to a low-carbon economy may require significant workforce retraining and job creation in new sectors. Impact on wildlife. While renewable energy is essential for combating climate change, its development can have both positive and negative impacts on wildlife. Reduce pollution. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind power produce significantly less pollution than fossil fuels, contributing to cleaner air and water. This benefits wildlife by reducing exposure to harmful pollutants. Bird and bat mortality. Some renewable energy technologies, particularly wind turbines, can pose a risk to birds and bats, causing collisions and mortality. Climate change mitigation. Renewable energy helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which are a major driver of climate change. This can help protect wildlife habitats and species from the impacts of climate change, such as rising sea levels and extreme weather events. Renewable energy negative impacts. Habitat loss and fragmentation. Large-scale renewable energy projects, such as solar and wind farms, can require significant land use, leading to habitat loss and fragmentation for wildlife. Habitat restoration. Some renewable energy projects, such as solar farms and reclaimed land, can contribute to habitat restoration and creation. Water use. Some renewable energy technologies, such as hydroelectric power, can impact water flow and availability, affecting aquatic ecosystems. Noise pollution. Renewable energy infrastructure can create noise and visual pollution, which can disturb wildlife and disrupt their behavior. Fossil fuels. Biodiversity crisis, in which the web of species and ecosystems that anchor all life on Earth, including us, is collapsing. Pollution. Oil and gas operations could release many tons of harmful pollutants into the air and discard dangerous chemicals into the water, thereby degrading the clean air and water that polar bears, whales, walrus, and humans depend on for survival. Ocean noise. Whales and other marine mammals use sound to navigate, find mates, and find food in the often dark waters of the ocean. Seismic noises like the air gun used by oil and gas companies to explore for oil offshore can be deafening for these species. Habitat degradation and destruction. The roads, pipelines, and other facilities built by oil companies as support infrastructure can degrade and destroy important habitat and interfere with the movement of migratory animals. In Africa, only 17% of the gorilla population currently lives in protected regions, and vast areas of gorilla forests have already been lost as oil and gas industries along with the logging companies move into the gorilla territory. Interference with subsistence ways of life.
Offshore oil exploration, drilling, and production can disturb the fish and animals that are cornerstones of the subsistence and cultural livelihood of the indigenous people in the Arctic. Oil spilling. Oil is an ancient fossil fuel that we use to heat our homes, generate electricity, and power large sectors of economy. But in oil, accidentally spilled in the ocean, it can cause big problems. Oil spills can harm sea creatures, ruin a day at the beach, and make seafood unsafe to eat. It makes sound science to clean up the oil, measure the impacts of pollution, and help the ocean recover. Plastic pollution. Over 99% of plastics are made from fossil fuels. Globally, 300 million tons of plastic waste are produced each year, 14 million tons of which end up in the ocean, killing wildlife and polluting the food chain. Plastics also have climate consequences. The US plastic industry produced 233 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year, and the industry's greenhouse gas emissions are expected to surpass those coal-fired power plants by 2030. Impact on human health. Fossil fuels. Air pollution. From the electricity that lights our home to the cars we drive to work, modern life has built in fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, but burning them creates climate change and releases pollutants that led to early death, heart attacks, respiratory disorders, stroke, asthma, and absenteeism at school and work. It has also been linked with autism spectrum disorder and Alzheimer's disease. Coal ash. Most coal ash is stored in lined ponds or pits. Over time, heavy metals in the ash can escape into nearby waterways and contaminate drinking water. Exposure to coal ash is linked with a heightened risk for cancer as well as heart damage, reproductive problems, neurological disorders, and other serious health conditions. Climate change. As the globe warms, mosquitoes will roam beyond the current habitats, shifting the burden of disease like malaria, dengue, fever, chikungunya, and West Nile virus. Researchers forecast different scenarios depending on the extent of climate change. Renewable energy. Improve air quality. By significantly reducing air pollution, we can create a healthier environment. Cleaner air can lead to a decrease in respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, improving overall public health and well-being. Reduce climate change. Lowering greenhouse gas emissions is crucial in mitigating the devastating impacts of climate change. By transitioning to renewable energy sources and adopting sustainable practices, we can reduce the frequency and severity of extreme weather events, such as heat waves, floods, and droughts. Cleaner water. Renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower often have minimal impact on water resources, reducing water pollution and conserving precious water supplies. This helps to protect aquatic ecosystems and ensure the availability of clean water for future generations. Economic impact. Energy transition. Job creation. More than 10 million people work in the renewable energy sector worldwide. With more than 500,000 new jobs added in 2017, the sector provides many different types of jobs including positions in manufacturing, installation, engineering, sales, marketing, and more. Landowner income. Renewable energy also provides an additional source of income for rural landowners and farmers. According to the data from the American Wind Energy Association, wind farmers in the US provides around $222 million every year to for rural landowners who host wind farms on their property. Reduce energy cost. Switching to renewable energy is an excellent way for residential, commercial, and industrial energy customers to save money on their bills. Installing solar panels on your property allows you to generate your own electricity, theoretically giving you the ability to reduce your energy bill to zero.
Increase property value. Installing renewable energy equipment on your property can help increase its value significantly. If you install solar panels on your house, for example, its value rises by approximately $20 for every dollar you save on energy bills. Energy dependence. Using more renewable energy could help the United States achieve energy independence, the ability to meet energy needs domestically, thereby reducing dependence on foreign nations and susceptibility to changing overseas energy prices. Stable energy prices. Installing renewable energy facilities requires a substantial upfront investment, but after installation, they are cheap to operate. This is in large part because they don't require you to purchase fuel. Avoidance of climate impact. According to a recent report from the Universal Ecological Fund, climate change has cost the U.S. economy around $240 billion per year over the last 10 years. Another report, the Fourth National Climate Assessment, which was authored by climate scientists from 13 U.S. federal agencies, found that the U.S. economy will contract by up to 10% by the end of the century if climate change continues at its current pace. Detailed statistics about the problem. Hydropower are expected to grow substantially, as would the battery storage needed for the integration of VRE. Natural gas would still play an important role in supporting the integration of VRE and firm power supply, and as a transition fuel until other clean technologies for firm power become cost efficient. Under the ADS, the share of renewable energy in power generation would reach at 83% by 2040, compared with 42% under the CPS.55. Continuing on the ADS pathway, with the help of new technologies that will become cost-effective, carbon capture and storage for gas-fired power plants could lead to a carbon-neutral power sector by 2050. Renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, together with nuclear, will on average meet more than 90% of the increase in global demand by 2025. The IEA forecasts that global electricity demand is expected to rise by 3% per year over the 2023 to 2025 period, compared with the 2022 growth rate. More than 70% of this is expected to come from China, Southeast Asia, and India, the report says. However, advanced economies are looking to generate more electricity as well as reduce reliance on fossil fuels in sectors like heating and transportation. Renewables' share of the power generation mix worldwide is set to rise from 29% to 35% by 2025. According to the IEA, the share of the coal and gas-fired generation will consequently fall, it says, and so will global power sector CO2 emissions, which are predicted to plateau through 2025, despite reaching an all-time high in 2022, about 13.2 gt CO2. China will account for close to half of the additional renewable generation, followed by the European Union with 15%. This growth is being fueled by increased government spending on renewables as part of the economic recovery plans, the report explained. In the US alone, the Inflation Reduction Act will provide $370 billion in clean energy investments. Current efforts to combat the problem. Policy and regulatory frameworks. In 2022, federal incentives for energy communities were enacted in the Inflation Reduction Act, and many states that their own incentives that support installing renewable energy on potentially contaminated lands. Renewable Portfolio Standard (RPS). These policies require or encourage energy suppliers to provide their customers with a stated minimum share of energy from eligible energy resources. Net metering. Net metering is a billing mechanism that credits solar energy system owners for the electricity they add to the grid. Grid modernization. Smart grid technologies. Governments are investing in smart grid infrastructure to improve the integration of renewable energy into the power grid. Grid flexibility. Grid flexibility is a complicated dynamic system, and it is nearly impossible to account for all local factors at a global scale. However, increased grid flexibility is critical if we are to derive more than 25% of electricity from variable renewable energy sources. Public awareness and education. Public engagement. Governments are educating the public about the benefits of renewable energy and the importance of energy conservation. Capacity building. Training programs are offered to develop a skilled workforce for the renewable energy sector. Innovative solutions.
Solar energy innovations. Next generation photovoltaics. New solar technologies are making solar energy more powerful and affordable. Perovskite solar cells, tandem solar cells, and multi-junction solar cells are all pushing the limits of how much energy we can get from the sun. These innovations are opening up new ways to solar panels in more places and situations. Solar paints and coatings. Solar paints and coatings are revolutionizing how we use solar energy. They can transform buildings, cars, and even furniture into mini power plants, generating electricity from sunlight. It's like giving any surface a layer of solar power. Solar windows. Solar windows are like regular windows, but they also generate electricity. They use transparent solar cells built into the glass, making it easy to add solar power to existing buildings. Wind energy innovations. Floating wind farms. Floating wind farms are changing how we harness wind power. They can be placed in deep waters where traditional fixed wind turbines can go, taking advantage of stronger and more consistent winds. Their floating platforms use special mooring system to stay stable. Vertical axis wind turbines. Vertical axis wind turbines, or VAWTs, are like regular wind turbines, but they spin up and down instead of side to side. This makes them great for cities and places with tricky wind patterns. Kite wind energy system. Kite wind energy system use big kites to harness powerful winds high in the sky. They generate clean energy using less material than traditional wind turbines. Hydroelectric innovations. Tidal power generation. The tidal power generation uses the predictable rise and falls of the ocean tides to generate electricity. This can be done with underwater turbines or dams that capture the flow of the water. Run-off river hydroelectric systems. Run-off river hydropower uses the natural flow of rivers to generate electricity without needing big dams. This makes it a more environmentally friendly option, and it's easier to build and operate. Underwater turbines. The underwater turbines are like underwater windmills that use the power of ocean currents to generate electricity. They can be placed in different areas, like near the coast or in strong currents, making them a reliable source of clean energy. Biomass innovations. Bioenergy with carbon capture and storage. The bioenergy with carbon capture and storage is a way to generate energy from biomass, while also capturing and storing the carbon dioxide that's released. This helps to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and fight climate change. Algae biofuel production. Algae biofuel is a sustainable alternative to fossil fuels. It uses algae, which grow quickly and contain high oil content. Algae can be grown in various places, like wastewater treatment facilities and coastal areas. This makes it a versatile and carbon neutral source of energy. Waste to energy conversion. Waste to energy technologies transform organic waste into usable energy. This reduces landfill waste and creates renewable electricity or heat. Anaerobic digestion, pyrolysis, and gasification are innovative methods that utilize the energy potential of waste effectively. Geothermal innovations. Enhanced geothermal system. The enhanced geothermal systems tap into deeper, hotter parts of the earth, expanding geothermal energy potential. They create engineered reservoirs and use advanced drilling to overcome limitations of traditional geothermal systems. Geothermal heat pumps. The geothermal heat pumps use the Earth's stable underground temperature to efficiently heat and cool buildings. They extract heat from the ground in winter and release excess heat in summer, reducing energy-induced greenhouse gas emission. Deep direct use geothermal systems. The deep direct geothermal systems use the Earth's natural heat to directly heat and cool homes, business, and industries. They tap into hot water or steam deep underground, providing a sustainable and efficient way to meet thermal need. This reduces reliance on traditional heating and cooling systems, lowering energy costs and greenhouse gas emissions. Challenges in addressing the problem. Intermittency. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind are unreliable because they depend on weather conditions. This inconsistency can cause problems for the power grid, which needs a constant supply of energy. Storage limitations. Storing excess energy from renewable sources like solar and wind when they are abundant is crucial. Lithium-ion batteries are a promising solution for this, helping to address the challenges of their intermittent nature. Infrastructure upgrades. Switching to renewable energy requires more than just installing solar panels and wind turbines. Our current power grid wasn't designed for them, so we need to upgrade it to handle the extra energy and ensure a stable supply. This includes smarter grid management and energy storage technologies.
Innovations and technological advancement in renewable energy. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind power are crucial for creating a sustainable future. They help us reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and fight climate change.
Solar energy dominance. Solar energy is booming. Solar panels are becoming more efficient and affordable, driving a huge increase in installation worldwide. SIA predicts that home solar power will grow by 6,000 to 7,000 megawatts per year until 2027. Innovative transparent solar panels that can be built into windows and roofs are also gaining popularity, making it easier to generate energy in cities.
Actions individuals can take. Install solar panels. Solar panels can be stored in your roof to generate electricity from the sun. The electricity can be used to power your home and devices, and excess can be sold to the grid. Use smart technologies. Smart technologies can be combined with renewable energy sources to create more energy than the world needs. Educate yourself. Learn about renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, geothermal, hydropower, ocean, and bioenergy. Support policies that promote renewable energy. Support policies and regulations that encourage the development and use of renewable energy. Raise awareness. Raise awareness about the benefit of renewable energy such as clean air, job creation, and lower energy costs. Conclusion. The imperative to shift away from fossil fuels and embrace renewable energy sources is urgent. By investing in solar, wind, and hydropower, improving energy efficiency, and advancing technologies like hydrogen fuel cells and advanced batteries, we can reduce greenhouse gas mitigations and climate change. Supportive policies, international cooperation, and collective actions are vital to accelerate this transition and secure a sustainable future powered by clean energy.